Good morning, Lieutenant Commanders. Commander Tom Mitchell here in the center chair. I thought I'd start out this morning by showing you how I'm building a beam boat with my USS Connector. I'm using all phaser beams, Mark IVs up front, uncommon, and phaser beam 2 and phaser beam 2 uncommon in the back. And I'm using phase 4 uncommon shields, phase 2 uncommon warp core, phase 2 uncommon impulse, and a rare graviton deflector array Mark II. I'm still short one engineering console, but my science console gives me a 3.8% regeneration rate, and the tactical console gives me a plus 5% beam weapon damage, and I'm using all beams, so it's called a beam boat, and it's a pretty cool ship. Hopefully we'll just be able to improve on it. We're at Lieutenant Commander 14. We won't get another ship until we hit 20 Captain. So let's just jump right into our next mission. Franklin Drake, Everything Old Is New. Obviously the Davidians have found a way to harness the surge of triolic energy. The existence of the Davidian portal means they're traveling freely between the station in the present and in the past. Since the 23rd century technology can't detect the Davidian phase shift, that time period is rife with potential victims. The only choice now is to stop the incursion at its source. You'll have to take that portal into the past and find out how the Davidians are creating this new surge of triolic energy. Stop them and find a way back without altering the timeline. Don't worry about temporal investigations. I'll pull a few strings. They'll never know that you were gone. Best to keep your team small just in case. Go to Drosna Station, which is located in the Beta Quadrant, and take a portal back through time to discover the source of the Davidian incursion. Cool. And I get a retrofit phaser bank. It's gonna come in really handy on my Enterprise A style ship. Let's accept that. Plot a course. Navigator. Approach the station helm. Welcome to Drosna's USS Connector. You are cleared for docking. We have everything you need for shore leave and a few things you didn't even know you wanted. Shopping, drinking, dining, entertainment, you'll find it all here. don't forget the 77th rule of acquisition. If you break it, I'll charge you for it. I love those rules of acquisition. I mean, in one mission we get an entire list, and you can buy a list from the C store, and you can also pick up a verbal list of a Ferengi reading them off to you. It's freaking hilarious. A properly modulated energy discharge should allow us to use this portal to follow the Davidians back through time. Once we get there, though, it might be a bit trickier to get back. We should bring as few people as possible to minimize the chances of distorting the timeline. We're still in Drosnin Station, sir, just in the past. We need to be very careful here, Captain. If we damage the station or injure anyone, we could damage the timeline irrevocably. Even if Drake doesn't care about the Temporal Prime Directive, we should. We're still Starfleet officers, after all. You're right. Set weapons to heavy stun. We're still in the computer core, Captain. Strange. I wonder why there's nobody here. But when I remember about this time period, there should be someone here, even just a technician. If we can find the right parts, we could cobble together a subspace field emitter, and perhaps get an idea of what the Davidians are doing here. But using the 23rd century technology will make it much more difficult. The Federation won't develop ways to detect the subspace variances that the Davidians use until almost a century from now. I'll make a list of equipment that we can use to fine-tune Drosnin Station's sensor array. We can probably find the regulator component somewhere near the computer core and an induction coil on the power systems level. Collect parts for a subspace phase modulator. Temporal Agent Philip Cray. So that's how the data collector got there. You brought it. I know that you may not be entirely comfortable working with Section 31, but they've inadvertently enabled us to record centuries of data that would help us in our fight against the Iconians. No, nothing up here to play with. Nothing up here to play with either. No wonder there's nobody here. The station is on medical alert. Non-essential personnel are confined to quarters, and the computer core is locked down. Unfortunately, that lockdown works both ways. No one can get in, but we can't get out either. Lucky for us that these old systems had some well-documented problems. It shouldn't be too difficult to override the controls. Sir, these old Duotronic computers have a memory fault that makes them susceptible to overloads. An overload could cause it to lose process, like the one locking the door to the computer core. In this century, there shouldn't be any tasks that could overload them, but there's an infamous 24th century warp geometry problem that would be insoluble with the processing power available to this computer. If we set the consoles to divert processing to parts of the problem, we might be able to cause a memory overwrite that would make the computer lose its security lockdown. Yeah, as if. Now what the hell do I do? Reset non-critical processes. Okay. Check memory bank 1. Queued. Check memory bank 2. Queued. Check memory bank 3. Queued. Okay. Now isn't that a good thing or a bad thing? Shit, now I gotta go up and around and look at everything. Sorry about that. I finally overrode the locks on the computer corridor. It took me almost 5 minutes, but we got her done. Now, Lieutenant Myers, what are you doing down here? The station is on medical alert. Nobody's supposed to be in the computer core area but me. Hey, is that a weapon? Don't try anything or I'll have to stun you. I'm lost. The lift shouldn't even have let you down this level. How did you get here? I was stuck on the lift when the station went on alert. This is where it let me out. You should have used the intercom to call for assistance. It's not safe to move about the station during a medical alert. Right, I should get back up to the main station area. Follow me. I'm going to call security for an escort. But if I'm contagious, won't that be dangerous? I guess you're right. Look, just go up to the maintenance lift and get to the emergency medical center as soon as possible and get checked out. There's a doctor up there who has set up a triage center for the affected patients. Thanks. Check console for useful items. Found a duotronic transducer relay. Sir, I'm reading a patrol team ahead. Since the station is on medical alert, they're probably following a standard patrol pattern. We might be able to sneak past them or even lock them in on one of these side rooms. I wonder if we can. Warning, improper access may cause injury and/or death. For hardware access, disable all power taps before servicing. Discharge static electricity before contact with leads. Unlock safety cage prior to access. Unclamp data lead to replace regulator. Okay. Disable all power taps. Disconnect power. Discharge static electricity. Unclamp data. Remove computer monitor. Take plank regulator. This isn't the power distribution level, sir. Security's overridden the turbolift. They must have detected our arrival. Station security will probably be here any minute now. If we're going to get out of this without a fight, we better look for alternatives quickly. We'll have to find a console that we can use to override the turbolift so we can keep going. Another group of Starfleet officers ahead, sir. If we're cautious, we might be able to avoid them while they aren't looking. Use the command keys near your bridge officer portraits to direct their movements. Set them to passive mode if you don't want them to attack.
Enemy targets on center. Personal shield losing power.
Shit, did that one pretty bad, didn't I? Hold it right there.
Enemy targets on center. Personal shield losing power.
Shit, went down again.
Enemy targets on center.
Override maintenance lift lock. Sir, we should be able to find an induction coil on this level as part of the power systems. Then we simply need to rig the subspace inducer to the sensor array, and we can pinpoint the Davidian's incursion. Dr. Leonard H. Bones McCoy. You there! Don't just stand there. Come over here and help me. Give me a hand. People are dropping like flies on the station, and it's all I can do to keep up. Who are you? McCoy, Leonard H., but this is no time for introductions. What's going on? Some kind of illness is affecting the people on the station. Blue flashes and ghost stories. There has to be a reason for it, and we need to stop it. People are dying here. What do you need me to do? As far as I can tell, all these people reported seeing those strange blue flashes of light. Now they're all dying. They're worse than dead. Their brains are gone. Whatever this disease is, it's suppressing brain activity at an alarming rate. It's almost as if the energy between the neurons was being removed somehow. The blue flashes seem to be associated with the strange form of radiation. So far, we've set up a triage center here. The crazy engineer said that the power distribution station is heavily shielded. What kind of radiation? How should I know? I'm a doctor, not an engineer. The blue flashes are still happening anyway. We need some way to replace that neural energy. Jumpstart their brains somehow. Tactical, like reinforcing a drained shield generator. I suppose that's a way of looking at it, but the mind is much more complex and delicate instrument. Maybe that's the key. The brain might be able to restart itself if stimulated correctly. Give it the energy it needs and a stimulus to make it spread throughout the nervous system. I'll need to know how much neural energy the survivors have, so that we can figure out how much they've lost. Then we need to apply cortical stimulators at the correct frequency. It's no panacea, but it might save the lives of the crew. Saving these lives is important to making sure that everything turns out the way it should. Come on, grab a tricorder and start checking the neural activity on some of these survivors. Take note of your readings. We're going to have to calculate the difference between a healthy mind to determine the right frequency to stimulate the brain. A normal human neuron has a resting potential of 70 millivolts. Once you have some readings, we'll calibrate a cortical stimulator to try to revive some of these people. Scan neuron resting potential is minus 60 millivolts. Normal human is minus 70 millivolts. Scan potassium levels are elevated. Interior neuron sodium levels elevated. Sodium potassium gates damaged. Scan for neural activity. Sodium potassium gates damaged by forcible ion movement, likely cause sudden change in neural voltage. Predicted results: hallucinations, loss of motor function, nervous system damage. Ready to try some neurosurgery? Review findings. I'm not going to read all that. Request explanation. We need to restore the mind to its baseline state. Review your findings and set your cortical stimulator so that the reset the brain back to normal. Hopefully, with a little push from the cortical stimulator, the subject's brain will repair itself with some time and rest. Calibrate cortical stimulator. Set the voltage for the resting potential at 70. Scan the voltage for the action potential. Let's go with 30. Set the potassium level states. Shit, I don't remember this. Sodium potential, potassium external and internal. That's it. Let's try it. Oh, I guess it worked. Okay, now I have to find an induction coil. Alright, that seems to be the issue here. Integrate subspace emitter. It's working, sir. The emitter has adjusted the active scanners for the station. What do you make of these readings? Imaging shows that the station is becoming suffused with triolic radiation. The radiation is coming from a different comet. The comet itself is emitting mass amounts of triolic energy. The Davidians must have realized that it's a natural source of the energy, and they're using it as an easy way to shift into sync with us. It's like riding behind the wake of a ship in the water. But that's not all they're doing, sir. They're harnessing the trionic energy and infusing with quantum particles. With that, they could have enough energy to move the entire station out of phase, even the entire sector. We have to stop them. The comet is the key, sir, but we can't do anything about the comet without a ship, and I don't think the 23rd century vessel is going to be able to do the job. With this information, it's clear that we have to find some way to destroy Griffin's comet, sir. We can use one of the auxiliary reactors in sync with the subspace emitter that we hooked up to the station in order to make a temporary portal that will take us back to our time. Once we make it back, we'll have to report in and find a way to bring a ship back with us to destroy the comet.
Enemy targets on sensor. Viking damage detected.
We have another problem. We've absorbed so much trialic radiation at this point that traveling through a gate again could cause radiation poisoning. Normally we just use hydraulic to flush it out, but our medical supplies aren't protected against the phase shifting. Our hydraulic supply is probably already irradiated, if that isn't the sort of problem that comes up frequently. We'll need a large dose of hydraulic to chelate out the existing triolic radiation and protect us for the transition back through the portal. There's one person who can probably get it for us. Something else you need, son? Actually, I have a friend who took a little too much triolic radiation and can use some hydraulic. A friend, eh? With all the radiation flares that the station's experiencing, we're probably going to be a little short on hyronalin ourselves. I could maybe spare a hypo, but if your friend is getting radiation, he or she is on the station already. I'll need a double dose to chelate out a significant amount of triolic radiation. You should never lie to your doctor or your bartender. That much radiation would mean you've experienced something close to the epicenter, like fooling around with triolic waves. You don't need green blood and pointy ears to know that is a bad idea. But when the people on the station really needed it, you came through. I appreciate that. I think I can spare a few doses. Just don't let the station's commander hear about it. Thanks. Look, I'm not sure who you are or where you came from, but I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just an old country doctor, but I know better than to ask too many questions about a little unexpected help. You probably shouldn't loiter around here too much longer or people will start to ask questions. I'm gonna put these cortical stimulators to good use. We can take the portal back to our own time whenever we're ready, sir. Return to your own time. Franklin Drake. So, Driffin's comet is the source of the triolic radiation. That explains a lot. However, we cannot simply destroy it in our time. The Davidians have the means to go back to the 23rd century and harness its energy there. However, that will be their only other chance. Before that, there's no Drosny station, so there's no place that will be close enough to the comet's trajectory to be of use to them. The only logical solution is to alter the past, destroy the comet there, and save the Federation. As it happens, I have access to a way to transport your ship back to the 23rd century. It's risky, but I think the odds are in your favor. And if they aren't, there's always time for another try. I'll make the arrangements. Stay in touch. Drake out. Okay, what do I get? A retrophase phaser bank. Awesome.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Commander.
Wow, I just got a shitload of holograms. Duty officers. New officer hails Starfleet to report. Who will be joining the crew? Let's see here. Bajoran Engineering Officer, Human Science Officer, Human Tactical Officer. Let's go with them. Greetings, Captain. My name is Jung. There's no room on the connector for new bridge officers. Okay. Well, thank you for joining my trek through the Federation. And that's it for this mission. And we'll be back tomorrow. Okay, thank you.